How you doing, Jamie? Thanks for coming on.
I'm really good, thank you, Deji. Are you okay?
I'm very good, very good. Yeah, just wanted to do a deep dive section on bridging, and I know you guys have something unique you do on your side. I wanted to share more education around bridging,
Yes.
around creative financing, and what things people could know about property investment and how to do things better. So, tell us a little bit about yourself today and why you are here
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, well, I'm here always. One of the things, my name's Jamie, obviously I'm the sales, because it says it on the screen, I'm the sales director here at MS Lending Group, and we're a bridging lender, solely a bridging lender, which we can go into more detail in a moment. I'm here basically just to help show the power of a solution of bridging, really, how good it can be, and to support yourself, Deji, and Auction 360 because of the power that it can have. Property is one of those things that people love owning, love making profit out of because they watch all the TV programs, they can see what you can do with it. And auction presents a really good opportunity to buy property which either needs a bit of work doing to it, is undervalued, is a distressed situation where they can pick it up, something that you can add value to and either sell on for a profit, or you can put it into your portfolio and create good yields out of rental. So I think post-COVID, there's been an even upsurge in where auction has been going, and even where it used to be where the gavel comes down, and where I'm quite old now actually, where you used to go into a room and have to put your hand up. There's lots of auction opportunities online now, so there's a lot more opportunity, a lot more stock coming onto the market, which can be auctions. And your customers just need and the investors out there just need to know with confidence that they can get quick finance, that they can value quickly, because as soon as that gavel comes down, you've got 28 days to complete on that, or you're at risk of losing your 10% deposit. So it's not for the faint-hearted, but we make it easy and pain-free at MS Lending Group because it's our bread and butter auction.
Definitely. Thank you for that. Just, I know you put some age on yourself. Just will be out of interest. I mean, how did you get into the industry and specifically into bridging?
Yeah, so I've been in the industry now in mortgages, property finance, all sort of together for 25 years now. So that's how old I am. I suppose my specialist lending journey, and for everybody thinking what's specialist lending, because I was in mortgages for years, this is all the stuff like buy-to-let, bridging, and everything that we're talking about. So if we're talking about that, I've probably been in it since about 2012. Only through 3 lenders, so on the lender side, helping out fund deals. And I think the biggest thing that I've seen is that buy-to-let has skyrocketed, become more professional, been kicked by the government many a times, but by nature has become more professional. Your investors will need, which both of us can't provide unless I've missed your accountant's qualifications, Deji. We can't give tax advice, but what I do is I support people who want to have that finance to buy a property and then maybe take it out to a buy-to-let. So 3 lenders, bridging I've been doing since about 2012, and the market has really grown up in that time of how long is that, 13 years or so. And it's grown up, but in that time though, there's been quite a few lenders who have slowed down actually with their processes as well, so which doesn't fit into exactly what we're talking about today at auctions. I can confidently say that the thing that you need when it comes to auction is fast lender, and we can go into, you can ask me some questions on how we can be fast. You need that consistency and reliability, that that lender you're going to choose is going to be someone who's able to do it time and time again, and the flexibility of approach as well with everything their processes. So yeah, we offer that. Don't just, one thing I would say to investors is don't just think all bridging is the same. There's a lot of myriad of different types of bridging, and only some are really teed up to do auction finance.
Yeah, I like that definitely. Not all bridging are the same. And I mean, bridging is something a lot of people don't know about, but even within bridging, there's different segments and different ways to make and to package bridging. So you've touched on how
Yes.
post-COVID, a lot of attention, a lot of more engagement around auction, especially online auction and stuff. So back in the day, it used to be in the room auction, but now things have changed. So there's a lot of volume happening around auction. So, and that's one of the things
Yeah.
I'm interested in. But you would, I'd love you to share from MS Lending point of view, how do you make, you talked about the processes, some lenders have slowed down and stuff. It's really down to the process, it's really down to the flexibility. How do you make it happen? And it's really for auction. I know you mentioned 28 days, but again, when you think about the days minus the weekend, we only have about 20 days. So you're really, really pushing everything possible to make it happen. I know you have done that many times over. How is MS Lending a different type of bridging lender that makes it possible to move quickly, especially for auction purchases?
So I think the first part of that is a good question, actually, because I think the first part of that is that we are solely bridging and we solely do day one lending. So we understand we're absolute masters at what we do rather than try our hands at lots of stuff. So this is what we do, and this is why we're able to do the things that I'm going to show you now. We understand that your customer, when they're buying a diversity of stock, but just for this example, because it's the biggest one, they're buying a residential asset that they need to do works on. General cases with those, we can do that on an AVM basis. So for your investors, we don't need to actually send out a valuer to that property. And two things are important with that, because valuers' availability may be weeks until they do it. And as you rightly just say, there could just be 20 working days that they can do it. And we're coming into winter soon as well. So those days get shorter for valuers because they do need sunlight to go out and see those properties as well. So we do an AVM, which is automated valuation. We'll see what it's worth, and that can be really quick, quick for the customers. Secondary to that, we have got experts in here who will talk to your broker, like Deji, all the time, all the way through the process. So we'll understand exactly what you as a customer will need. And one of the things that comes into that is making sure that maybe we don't have a legal undertaking. So we'll need the legal firms that will represent ourselves. And sometimes with other bridging lenders, they will wait until the 11th hour until they instruct that and want payment from you. Now, we take that off the gross loan facility. So we will get the ball rolling for you really quickly when it comes to that as well. And one of the major parts I always think that's really important is that we allow title insurance. So part of the legal process is that you will need to obviously go and have a look at the different charges on the property. So if you can get actually title indemnity that protects you for that, that will narrow down the time. And something that we just didn't talk about really with the AVM and that title insurance is that that then becomes cheaper by nature than the costs that can go out. So more money that you can spend on the property and doing it up. So lots of different being able to get those loans done. And I'm completing on about 5 auctions a day at the moment. So lots of people using us again and again, whether that's the broker using us again and again, or the customer who's coming back to us time and time again as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you mentioned, I mean, for few people that might not be very clued up, and this is why I wanted to break things down, keep it simple for everyone. And I know for people that might not really understand, you've explained what AVM is and title insurance and the legal process. But one thing I feel you didn't say is about the day one stuff. So maybe you want to explain what that really means for an investor. What do they need to understand by day one funds?
So day one funds, yeah, it's a good question, and thanks for sort of, because we can get trapped in this industry quite a lot, don't we? And we either use terms and this, and we got to understand that the customer, thank God for them that they don't have to live and breathe mortgages all the day, and they have to think, they can utilize us for it. So I mean day one funds. So let me give a simple example for myself, just for maths, and I haven't got a calculator in front of me. So I've gone to auction. the gavel's gone down and I've bid on a property and it's worth £100,000. Yeah. And I've seen some videos on YouTube that describe this incorrectly. Right? So let's just say that you want to buy that quickly. We can offer 85% day one. So what that means is it's £85,000 gross loan that we can offer you. But that doesn't mean if the best way that I can explain this is that if any of your customers are PAYE, they may get paid, I don't know, made up figures, £3,000 per month gross. It doesn't mean that they get 3,000 in their bank account. The net amount that they get maybe in this made up example, £2,500, £2,200. So day one that we'll give you 85,000 gross will be the loan amount. And then what you'll get is a net amount off that, say, again, £74,000, just in this example, yeah, net. Because the things that we're doing is that you'll be taking out that bridging loan over, say, a 12-month period. It's a short-term loan to allow you to execute your plan. Executing your plan means buying the property, day one, and then being able to do what you want with it. In that 85% example, that would be a refurb. So you would be able to do the works off your own back, maybe kitchen modernisation, bathroom modernisation, liquor paint that's generally white, magnolia on the walls, and then able to exit. It's a really important word when you're thinking about bridging, the exit. Exit in this example is generally selling the property. So you need that time to put it onto the open market and the estate agents to get interest, or you exit and Deji will be able to get you onto a buy-to-let mortgage. And affordability comes into that as well, which is a totally different conversation. But one of those exit routes, that 12-month period, will give you the time for it. But back to your question, day one, what we're doing is that during that 12-month period, we're not asking you, unless you want to pay interest each month. So if you've got your own home, you have to pay, one of the big banks out there every month. You're paying your £500, £700, £1,000 or more per month. Mortgage payments that you've got. With bridging, there's something called retained interest. So we calculate what the interest will be over the period of 12 months, and we take that off the gross loan facility, and you're left with net. And I mentioned earlier, there's some other fees that get put onto the loan as well, including those legal fees that we said, and maybe some drawdown fees and other admin fees that are in there. But all of these, we're very transparent at MS Lending Group. So what we'll give you day one through the broker that you Deji, that you choose to use on that, is that we give you a quote and straight away what you'll be able to lend and what you need as deposit. Because I mentioned, and I know I'm going on, it's a long answer, but I mentioned a YouTube site that I saw which was saying this is how bridging works, 100 grand example, and lenders lend 75%. So you only need 25% deposit. The important thing is that gross word. Yes, there is some lenders that will lend net, but in this example, you need more than 25k deposit because you need to think of all the other costs associated, including any works, including stamp duty. So it's really important to use a really good broker for that example.
Very good, very good. I think, putting everything together to make sense, it's what a lot of people lack most times. And a lot of cases come to and you wonder, oh, okay, you've not actually understood what you're trying to do. So from your experience, how should investors be prepared to actually leverage the opportunity? I know there's massive opportunity in auction where they can add value to properties and to get the funds. How would you recommend for investors to take a look at this market? Maybe for people that have already been doing auction or people that are new to auction. And this is not restricted to auction, just your lending is not just related to auction. You can provide any type of short-term finance, just to make that clear as well.
Yeah, auctions a big part of what we do, but it's also because bridging day one is what we do. We lend on commercial, we lend on stuff where it needs to be title split. So maybe to picture for your customers, you've got 4 flats in one block, but you want to split them out and get the increased value. That sort of stuff. Maybe you're purchasing commercial, which is semi-commercial, or picture that shop that's above a takeaway, that, or maybe it's a warehouse, and why are you bridging that? Because you want to look at a new tenant to put into that to get it out to a long-term lender. By that I mean, you know, a 25-year, 20-year term lender. There's lots of different ways. Bridging has got more than one use. So those are some of the opportunities available. What I'd say to some of your, and the question was more about what would you do with your inexperienced guys? What would you suggest? Was that the sort of question, Deji? How you would leverage these sort of things? Okay, yes. So, you know, you got, I got asked the other day, you know, someone said, oh, isn't it funny that high net worth customers, just away from some of the other customers, because not all of us can be high net worth, I certainly aren't, you know, where they said, isn't it funny that they use bridging finance when they could fund it themselves? And there's a really important lesson in that, where actually the high net worth customers generally always use debt to buy stuff. You know, they make sure that they've got cash available. So, you know, do not worry if you're inexperienced and thinking, God, do I need to take out debt? I need to save up £100,000 just to buy this property. But if you saved up money, it could be useful to actually have that contingency, have that money, and be able to spread that and buy more properties potentially as part of your business plan. So another way, maybe you've got customers and viewers who are watching this thinking, but I can't save up enough deposit. Well, they've got some other good options here at the start. They may be able to lean against another security that they own. Maybe it's even their home, and we can look to leverage or raise money as part of the deal against that asset. Maybe it's that they're really inexperienced, but they've got the idea, they've got a bit of deposit, but they actually want to lean on somebody else as well. That's called joint venture. So they may find someone as part of their property network who may want to go in with them on a deal. That may be part of a personal ownership or limited company ownership. And the reason people buy in different is because of tax reasons. But I'm not here to give tax advice. There's lots of different ways that you can start out. Here's my golden rules, because I know that I talked a lot in the previous answer. The most important thing about bridging, and some would say it's the deposit. It's not. It's being able to exit the bridging loan. Do never get onto a bridging loan unless you've got at least one plan A to get off it, and always have a plan B. So in those examples, maybe I'll sell it, but what happens after month 6, month 7, month 8, and you're thinking the bridging loan needs to get paid back in 12 months? You know, you've got to have a plan B, and Des, you can help you out with maybe we put it and retain it for a period, refinance it in different ways. And after that, it's about being able to move fast. So using a good broker, you need a great broker to help you out with these deals as a first-time investor or even experienced, who can pick a great lender like MS Lending Group. Plus also, you know, you may have purchased at auction. The one thing that you should be able to do is, through MS Lending Group, definitely, is get terms beforehand. So see which lot you're going to go for. You know, lot A that's in Southall, and you know the property that you want to go for. Let's get you terms beforehand so you know how much you want to bid up to, because you can get too excited in an auction and overpay. The more you overpay, the less profit you make, remember, on a deal. And then you've got to have your pack available. Make sure you've got all of your documents. That is including your ID documents, your up-to-date sort of bank statement in the last 3 months, address file. Even those who think they've got the best credit history, do a Check My File or Experian or Equifax to find out what that's like. And having that pack available, make sure that you can move quickly with Deji. It doesn't mean in the next minute that it's going to be that. It doesn't mean that it's going to be that you can't. You know, it's going to take you an extra few days to get those documents together. You know, that erodes time. So for auction purchases, having that pack available and coming in is really important. Another long answer for you, Deji.
Thank you for that. I just put on the banner, consider more than one exit. And I think this is definitely one key thing people need to take away from that. So more than one exit. And I think you mentioned, especially for auction, the speed of making things happen, the preparation beforehand really cannot be over emphasized, because the more prepared you are up front, the easier it is for everything else to follow through. We're just knowing that from auction, you just focus on getting the deal across the line, which is very fantastic. Okay. Thank you very much for that. There's just one thing I'd like you to speak on. as part of auction, especially as part of MS lending, something that you do unique. I'm trying to keep this very short so that people can get value from this. But one thing I know from MS lending is, I know you talked about 12 months plan, but what happens if the project finishes? Maybe they are lucky, they start the property within 6 months, or they're able to finish the refurbishment, and maybe after 6 months, 3 months, what happens? And they've already taken a 12-month plan. Could you explain how MS lending handles?
It's a really good example. And again, these figures are just examples and they won't be it. But let's say that you've got 12 months of interest, which you've already taken off the gross loan. So it's on it and you need to pay it. And if you took it up to the 12 months, let's say that would be £12,000. But if you've repaid and sold it after the property or exited after 6 months, and that's all you needed the bridge for, then you don't pay for what you've not used. So you would have that redeemed back, i.e. you don't have to pay that whole 12 grand fees. MS Lending Group charge interest on a monthly basis. So an example, let's say that you had the bridge and you exited after 6 months and 2 days, then you would pay 7 months of interest. But in that example, you'd have 5 months where you don't pay. So you don't pay for what you don't use.
Yeah.
The problem is, just with that quick, and this will be a quick bolt on to that answer, is that customers sometimes try and take a bridge for too short a time. I will only need it for 6 months because I will get out of it 6 months. Take it for longer than you want to. You know, we're recording this just in September. How long ago was it just sunny? How long ago were you just putting down your Christmas tree? It feels like that. You know, make sure that you've got enough time, because bridging can become really expensive if you go over term. And it can have a knock-on effect to future projects because you're starting to erode your cash.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Any parting words? I really wanted to keep it short so that people can get value from this, but you've given us bucket load of value already. So any last words before we put this to an end? I know we wanted to talk about bridging, make people understand it more. We talked about auction, which is one of your specialty. You've talked about your experience in the industry, and you've given people more to think about. Things, I hope people can listen to this and actually focus on some of the things you said, because it looks like they are common knowledge, but from experience, these are things that people need to drill into and really understand how it works. So any parting words before we close this today? And thank you for coming on this hot seat where we just want to have quick sections talking about bridging, talking about specialist finance.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, and the viewers doing this. But so the parting words were: use a great broker like Deji, okay? Because he will find his route to MS Lending Group. Just like going to a sweet shop, there may be lots of sweets, but MS Lending Group know what they're doing. So I know that Deji will be able to select us time and time again. So do your homework. Make sure you're just not putting your hand up or pressing the button on your auction purchases. Do your homework. It will help you later. And most roads lead back to MS Lending Group. So that's a given.
Thank you very much. This is definitely valuable stuff. Really appreciate you coming on. And I'm sure we'll find maybe a different angle, maybe a deep dive section in future. But definitely we'll love working with you guys, and we'll love to have you back at some point in the future. Thank you for coming on and adding much value to us. Watching this. Thank you for watching this. We really appreciate your time. Please click on the like, subscribe. We'll be bringing you more sections around auction, around bridging, and bringing more people to the hot seat just to showcase what is possible within property investment. Either you're doing BRR, you're doing new build, you're doing a land purchase, you're doing commercial to resi conversion, whatever it is you're doing, you're adding value to your property, we would be able to add some value to it. So please remember to subscribe, and you can watch this over and over again. Thank you.